this fish batter is common: wheat, so flour, and salt and cornstarch. Secret mixture in ours, it's lightly seasoned as well. We're going to mix that 1-to-1 with liquid. So I have 2 cups of the batter. So if you're mixing it at home, it's always 1-to-1. If you're using 2 cups dry, 2 cups wet. So to get bubbles and make your fish and chips really light, we're going to use a little bit of soda. So we have club soda. We're using Schweppes brand there. So I'm going to put in a half a cup, and then I'm going to do 1.5 cups of beer. All right, so you can lightly flavor your beer batter as well. We're going to use a Pilsner today. If you like it a little more hoppy, you can use an IPA. Or you can have both. Use the Pilsner for the beer batter, and you can drink the IPA while you're cooking. All right, so that might be gone by the end, but don't tell anybody, we're working, right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put in our half a cup, and I'm going to do 1.5 cups of Pilsner. All the bubbles in the beer and in the soda water will give the fish batter a nice light fluffy rise when it's cooking in the fryer. And that's what you really want. You don't want your fish batter to be overly thick and crunchy, and you don't want it to be too runny and light. So we're going to mix this up, show you the consistency you want. So right now I only have 1.5 cups in, and you can see how it's too thick. And it's really thick because it's making my handle on my whisk fall off. Okay, so too thick. That's more like a big pancake batter. So we're going to put our other half cup in. And with foam, I went a little bit over, so that's about 1.25 bottles just to get this recipe where we need it. So I'm going to mix this up. We're going to transfer it over into our dredging station, and Lawrence will get the fish all dredged up, and he's going to show you how we do that so that we can get it into the fryer. The fish will fry at 350 Fahrenheit for about 4 minutes. While that fish is frying, we're going to mix up our coleslaw and explain to you a little bit about what we do so we jazz it up to get some really good flavor in the coleslaw. Everybody can see that now? So we get all the lumps out. We've got a nice texture. You want it to stick on the fish, but we don't want it to be too thick. So we're pretty much perfect right there. All right? Lawrence is dredging it in flour. The fish is already wet. You don't have to run it under water. You don't have to do anything. It has natural moisture, right? The flour will stick to it, and then when he puts it into the batter will stick on the flour. Very important step. If you just put it in the batter, put it in the deep fryer, all the batter will come off the fish. It won't stick on it. So you have to dredge it in flour. We put the fryer basket right in the oil because if you put the piece of fish on the basket, it'll stick to it. So you need to submerge the fish into the hot oil. We're running at 350, and we wave it. So he's waving at the fish right now. So that'll go for 4 minutes. Looking good in there. At about the 2-minute mark, Lawrence will also flip the fish so that the top part floats a little bit out of the oil. So you want to flip it over so it's consistently golden all the way through. And that's our cooking time on a 2.5-ounce codtail. The bigger piece of fish you use, you may have to cook it a little longer, but we found in our restaurants, we get about a 4-minute cook time to be perfectly crispy, but also cook the fish through. Once those come out, we're going to rest them here. You see we have a nice pan here lined with paper towel. You can put your fish there just to rest before you serve it, and it'll take any of the extra oil off, right? You don't want to have greasy fish and chips, so we're just going to rest it for maybe a minute or two there while our fries cook. All right? Okay, so now let's talk about coleslaw. So this is just cabbage, coleslaw cabbage that you buy in the cooler at your Safeway. We're going to put that in a bowl. We're going to mix it with some of our coleslaw dressing. And then we have what's called a chef mix here that Lawrence will show you there. So you can look in the mirror up there and see what that is. So in there we have tri-colored peppers. So we fine dice green pepper, red pepper, yellow pepper. We also have red onion, salt and pepper, and garlic. And we use a sweet peppadew in there. If you can't find those, they're a signature item that we use at Ricky's. You might not find that in the grocery store. Again, it's called a sweet peppadew. It's a cross between a sweet pecani pepper and a red pepper. Really sweet, smoky flavor. We put them in our chef mix that we mix into our coleslaw, and we mix that into like a basmati rice to make it like a rice pilaf, right, to give some flavor. So basically when we say chef mix in our kitchen, our cooks know it's our secret mix of vegetables, garlic, salt, and pepper. And it gives great flavor to your coleslaw. You want to do a tropical slaw, add some pineapple and apple to it, right? a little bit of peach maybe. So you can add different things to your coleslaw to give it a different flavor, which will help enhance that, right? So these are our Kennebecs. So you'll want to take your potatoes at home and just be careful, right? Peel them up. Then when you place the potato on the cutting board, it's round. So it'll roll around when you go to cut it with your knife. So I like to cut my potatoes in half lengthwise and then lay them on the flat part before I try to cut them into strips to make my fries, right? That way they're not rolling around. You might lose an end of your finger if you're not careful. Okay, 2 things you need to know when you make fries. So we cut the fries, then we soak them in a brine. So just some water and salt. You can find a good recipe on the internet. And you just soak them. You want to soak them, right, to brine them up so they have flavor. Then we're going to deep fry them. We already did this at our restaurant. We took these and we put them in the fryer already for 4.5 minutes at a lower temperature of 325. Then you let them cool down to room temperature and just put them in the fridge. So you want to make your fries and blanch them the day before you want to eat them, or early in the morning, so that night when you're making your fish and chips, you have them ready to do a second cook. If you try to cook French fries from raw state all the way through and just say, oh, that guy said put them in for 4 and then redo them for 2.5, that's 6.5, I'll just put them in. They'll be burnt on the outside and they'll still be raw in the middle. So you have to do a blanch at 325. We're going to do that in the restaurant for 4.5 minutes. Then we do what we call the second cook, and that's only at 350 for 2.5 minutes. And that's really fast, so when you come for lunch, I can have your fries ready in 2.5 minutes, right? So they're already blanched. So you'll want to brine them, cut them, brine them, blanch them, and have them ready to go. Look at that fish. So that's nice and golden. Not too thick of a batter like an English style, and not thin like a panko. When we do this batter with the beer and the soda, it's in between, right? Nice, so he's going to let that rest. So we do a 1-piece or a 2-piece fish and chips at Ricky's, and some of the Ricky's that have a participating program, they do an all-you-can-eat fish and chip on Tuesday nights. Thursdays? Thursday nights. This is Jen from marketing, so she keeps me on track. But there's a lot of new trends coming out for oils, like avocado is very healthy, but canola is very good because it's 0 trans fat as well. This oil that we use has to be in Canada now. That's a new rule, right? We're going to hit the fries while they're hot with sea salt, so the sea salt sticks on the fries to the oil that's left on the fries. And we're going to put our fish and chips on top. Oh, look at that. It smells great. And we like to cross them so they look like you get lots of height on there, right? Okay. We're going to put a lemon wedge so people can squeeze that on there and get some lemon going on there. We're going to put some coleslaw right on the plate as well. Usually you can put this in a little side dish if you have a ramekin, but it's nice to put on the plate. I mix it into my fries with I put some vinegar on there and ketchup on there. All right, and then we're going to put some tartar sauce on as well. Same thing, you can put it in a ramekin, but when I go to Sea Lovers or Ricky's for fish and chips, I just squirt it right on the plate so that I can get my fries all in there as well, right? Perfect. All right, so that would be your finished plate. We're going to put a little parsley garnish on there, fresh out of the garden, just so it looks even nicer there, right? All right. Ocean Wise cod and chips.